Hi, my name's Tom, and I'd like to welcome you to step one of our automated presentation system. We're going to be talking to you about the OneCoin One Concept business overview. This is all about our USA Alpha launch. We're looking for leaders and very excited to be able to present OneCoin to you today. The goal of the presentation is to get you to understand what cryptocurrency is, what's in it for you, and ultimately how you can get started. I always tell people, if I answer all your questions, that's probably not a good sign. Hopefully you have a pen and paper, you jot down even more questions and get those answered by the person who invited you to watch this presentation. So with that said, let's go ahead and get into the presentation. So there's a lot of people out there that think digital currency is a fad. Well, it's not a fad. As published in Wired magazine, they said, irrespective of your opinion, the rise in popularity of cryptocurrencies really cannot be ignored. Actually, it's one of the five fastest growing industries in the emerging growth sector today. There are a number of billion-dollar businesses that accept Bitcoin as a form of payment, including Dell, Overstock, Reddit, Expedia, Reed Jewelers, PayPal, and recently Microsoft. And so it goes on to say, for the uninitiated who have not yet grasped what Bitcoin is and other current cryptocurrencies are, you really ought to catch up. And I totally agree with them, because I have read articles where there will be thousands and thousands of different forms of cryptocurrencies for different cultures and different communities. It's pretty amazing how people are adopting different cryptocurrencies all over the world. You know, our OneCoin promise, what we promise you today, is to provide you with a simple three-step business introduction system if you decide to get into the business. And I should say up front, some people get in just to gain access to the education, the tokens, and ultimately the coins. There are others that get in to take advantage of that, plus also build a business, introducing it and sharing it with others. Of course, we're building a culture of freedom through a currency, so we hope that everybody that comes in will ultimately share it, because that just increases the demand for it, increases the value of it. Our second promise is to educate you on digital currencies. It's important that you have an education to offer you access to digital currencies, to create wealth with digital currencies, to execute our business plan with world-class leadership, and we have that in absolute spades. Ultimately, at the end of the day, our goal is to help you realize 10x freedom. And you say, well, what's 10x freedom? Well, it's freedom that's 10 times better than you would have ever imagined. And very excited about our OneCoin ADC system. This is our simple 7-hour wealth system that focuses on automation, duplication, and creation. The one thing you can be very happy about is if you decide to get into our business, you'll never have to do a presentation. Our system does it for you, and it filters out the people that are interested, what I call the tire kickers, versus the people that are like, hey, I want to drive this car. And you know, with the 7-hour wealth system, we do a hangout every single night. Hangout is like an online presentation that's live. Our leaders pop in and say hey to everyone, but we ask you to spend 1 hour a night. The hour leading up to the presentation, we want you to focus on inviting lots of people and sharing it with lots of people. There's no selling here. Just say, hey, are you interested in Bitcoin 2.0? Are you interested in creating wealth and owning a currency that appreciates? We have a lot of great different angles on it. This is spreading across the college campuses using our system as well. Kids in college really get this. They understand currency. They understand cryptocurrency, and they're definitely looking for ways to make money. If you can remember college, I certainly do, and those were some broke days. But automation of marketing, let's talk about the ADC system, not the ABC system, but automation of marketing. We have Facebook-based presentations like the one you're looking at. We have a reminder calls, chat rooms for education, auto posting systems, and lead generation pools. And this is a business you can do from anywhere in the world. You're not really tied down to any one location. D is duplication of team. We have a system that does the explaining, training, and enrolling for you. I think if somebody calls you and says, well, give me a full presentation, say, well, I'd love to, but there's a guy that's much more experienced that knows a lot more about this, so I'm going to let him do it, and if you're interested, you can get back to me. You know, and people pay as much attention to how you do the business as what the business actually is. So if they're like, well, Tom didn't even present to me, he just sent me a link and told me to watch a video, you know, I can do that. And that's ultimately what you're trying to do, is get people to look at it and say, okay, so Tom works from home, from his farm. He communicates with people on Facebook, sends them information about this, sends them a link, and the people who raise their hand up in the air, he helps them, you know, come up to the opportunity. And so When you think about duplication of team, it's very important that you don't make it look complicated. It's very important that you're not wearing shiny suits or having to wash your car all the time or wear those expensive .com shoes and expensive Robert Graham shirts. Folks, you just don't need that. Our business is about everyday people. It's about building a culture of people who want freedom from all that garbage. And so duplication of team is very important. If you're out there telling people that they have to learn a 90-minute presentation and memorize everything about cryptocurrency, you're just not going to build a very big team. Keep it simple, stupid, as we say. Just send somebody a link. Well, all I do is send somebody a link, and that's how I grow my business. Creation of wealth. We focus on quality of life results. Again, I'm doing business from home in flip-flops and shorts and in a decent t-shirt. My wife won't let me wear anything dirty or anything like that. But I've got I'm not wearing a farm shirt or anything like that. Occasionally, I've been known to wear some camouflage shirts, but the bottom line is, folks, is we want to have fun with this. We want people to be relaxed. We're not here to build an uptight culture where everybody's got to have starched shirts on and polished starched pinpoints on. We're not looking for that, folks. Okay, we're looking for people that say, hey man, I don't want to go to any hotel meetings. I don't want to spend time in traffic. I'm not interested in three-way calls. I don't want to chase prospects. I just want to send people a link and say, if you're interested, holler at me. So the OneCoin ADC system has I can do it written all over it, because there's just not much you have to be able to do except for share links, and that's actually pretty easy. So let's look at the page that you're on right now so you have a really good understanding of what you're looking at. This is our Alpha Team Facebook presentation system. A 5-minute setup. You can see in the upper left-hand corner it has social media sharing. We would love it if you would give us a like or a share or a Google One Plus. That would be really exciting for us. It helps spread the word about our currency. We have a 1-minute sizzle video where people come and they see it, and if they're interested, they opt in. It captures their Facebook verified email address so you can get back to them if you want to, or if you want to send them information, you've got a good email address. It also has a 30-minute overview. So for those that are technical, it has a CRM system built into it, a customer relationship management system, where you can actually go in and see the people that have clicked register to come watch the webinar or watch the videos. So it collects information before it allows them to get to the actual presentation, just as you had to do that getting to this presentation. We also have a 30-minute overview, which is what you're watching right now. We have our compensation overview, which hopefully you'll watch next. And then we have the ADC system training video, which is the third video for you to watch. The Secure Your Spot can be personalized with your own link. And if you scroll to the bottom of this page, you'll see Clone This Page at the very bottom. That's how you copy the page. Don't do that until you watch video number 3, but it takes 5 minutes to set it up, and it's copied to your Facebook system. You take all the graphics from our page, everything that you want to use, and you're in business with your own marketing tool. We also have syndicated hangouts, so every night at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time, the top 1-minute sizzle video changes to a live video of a hangout of usually me and leaders that are visiting in to see the actual presentation. But every night at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time, we go live, but we're broadcasting through hundreds of people's Facebook pages using this powerful syndicated hangout system. So very exciting to have this kind of tool. When you look at the ability to build a business online and have tools like this, it just makes life so much easier. So let's get into the second part of our promise, and that is we told you we'd talk to you about what cryptocurrency is. And so what I thought I would do in this presentation is give you the 5 components that make up a cryptocurrency, what you really need. And I tell people, let's have some fun with this. Let's talk about creating our own island. We go, we're sailing along, we find this vacant island out in the middle of the sea, and we stake our flag, and all of a sudden, we've got a big social media following because people follow us on our sailboat adventures. And this, by the way, this is like one of my dreams, okay? And this is, so I pull up to the island, stake my flag, and I say, you know what? I'm going to invite friends to come here and do business, but to do that, we need to have our own currency. So I decided to create an algorithm, which I'm not smart enough to do that, but I would hire somebody smart enough to do it, somebody that knows Calculus 3 and Algebra 3 and all those great maths that combine letters and numbers, which I don't really get. But algorithm, it basically determines how many coins can be created. Once the algorithm is locked in, it cannot be changed. And basically an algorithm is an equation that says, okay, every time, and let's keep it real simple, every time you solve the equation that equals 5, the algorithm will create a coin. And a coin is basically a serial number with a unit of value assigned to it. Okay? And so every time we come up, 1 plus 4 equals a coin. 2 plus 3 equals a coin. 2 plus 3 is a coin. 101 minus 106 is a coin. 56 minus 51 is a coin. So we go through the algorithm, and it produces coins. And of course, it gets consistently harder for the algorithm to solve the equation, which creates a little bit more expense to create the coins, which creates basically an intrinsic value on them. And so when you look at the algorithm, let's say you come to the island, and I've decided, well, I'm going to offer 5 packages ranging from 100 euros up to 5,000 euros. And with each package, you're going to get certain benefits on my island. Okay, and each one of them is going to include some gold. Each one of them is going to include education about the island, what we want you to do and what we don't want you to do, basically how we're going to operate the island. And then the other element is we're going to give you some tokens, and each package comes with a different level of tokens. So you're going to turn those tokens over to our mining operation. So that's the second element you need in creating a cryptocurrency. You need a computer bank, a whole bunch of computers to solve these complex mathematical equations to create coins. And so let's say you turn over 60,000 tokens over to our mining operation. You bought our top package, and our mining operation says, based on the current power capacity and needs, it's going to cost you 6 tokens per coin. And you say, okay, here's 60,000 tokens. Well, that equals 10,000 coins. And so these mining operations, like with Bitcoin, you had to create your own mining operations. You had to set up your own computers, and you had to know how to do that. And it was just ridiculous. I mean, nobody knew how to do that. Very few people did, not the average Joe. And so with us, you don't have to do that. You simply just turn your tokens over to our mining operation, and we expand the server rooms as there's a need to add more computing power to solve the equations. So the mining company mines your coins and eventually puts them all in your wallet. And it might take a month, it might take 2 months, but eventually you have your 10,000 coins in your e-wallet. And let's say that you want to generate some cash. Okay, well, you'll take some of those coins want some liquid cash. You've got your coins, but you want to create some liquidity so you can go buy the Island Bar down the street, and you want to buy a little piece of real estate. So you send your coins to our exchange. Well, we have our own stock exchange where the coins are bought and sold. There's a bid and the ask for the coins, is what you can buy them for versus what you can sell them for. The community and the demand for the coins will determine the value. It's a free market currency. Okay, and then of course, if you want to, you can convert the coins into any sovereign or fiat currency like the dollar or euro or Swiss franc or whatever you want to do. But you take the coins to the exchange and you hit the sell button. Okay, and this is all very seamless. So just in your back office, you just go exchange and I want to sell 1,000 coins, and you hit enter, and the money is liquidated. It's put into your account, and cash is put into your account, the island cash, let's call it, the liquidity. Okay, then you can go buy your bar and you can buy your piece of real estate. Now, to maintain the integrity of the actual cryptocurrency, you got to have a blockchain, and a blockchain is a list of all transactions that are done. It's transparent, and it's available for the public to see every single transaction. They'll see your account number, but they won't know who it's associated with. But the important thing is that there is a public audit and people monitoring the system to make sure that every transaction is going through. So if I do a transaction with Bob down the street, Bob can check it to see if it goes on the blockchain. If it does, it means it's a legitimate transaction, that the coins are real and they're part of our system. They're not counterfeited. So that's real important. So for those that don't know how a mining operates, so we've created our own island. We've created we've established an island. We created our own cryptocurrency with an algorithm. We set up some computers anywhere in the world. Those computers solve the equations. We set up our own exchange. So if you want to buy and sell the coins and buy more or sell your coins or whatever, you can do that. But as more people come to the island and buy the packages, the more demand there is for the currency. So when there's more demand, what happens to the value of the currency? Well, it goes up in value. And you're looking at like OneCoin right now that in 7 months has more registered users than Bitcoin does in 7 years. So there's going to be a massive demand for this coin because people are very excited about the way the company has been set up. All of this is integrated. In Bitcoin 1.0, all of this was fragmented, and it was very difficult for people to understand. Well, now it's all seamless on one platform, and it just makes a lot of sense to people. Okay? So let's talk about the power to create currency. Well, a definition of a sovereign is a monarch, a king, queen, or other supreme ruler, a group or body of persons, which is kind of what OneCoin is, or a group starting their own island or whatever, or a state having sovereign authority. Well, I think you'll agree with me today, and then this is what bothers most people, well, not everybody, but it bothers me, but sovereign nations create currency, and they use this printing power, the power of the printing press, as I call it, to control cultures through taxation and debt. And debt, obviously being the ultimate imprisonment tool, is something that most people never escape their entire life. They just stay in debt. Tomorrow, what I call tomorrow world, which is what we're a part of, sovereign individuals and groups like OneCoin will create currency and create cultures that value freedom. OneCoin, bottom line, is the future of currency for a culture that values freedom. So if that's what you're looking for, if you want to have a currency that appreciates in value, if you want a currency that's trusted, that's not laden down by trillions and trillions of debt, this is something you ought to really consider, because it's something that I know once we're able as businesses to accept Bitcoin for services, anybody that wants to do my consulting services, I'll gladly accept OneCoin. Currency is a form of communication. We know that governments, companies, adults, children create currency every day. As we jokingly say, everyone owns a printing press. It's not limited to just owning a mint now. The Fed, S&B, Swiss National Bank, European Central Bank, they print paper notes, really fancy engraved ones, and they call them currency. A lot of people are out there, replicating them, counterfeiting them. Companies create rewards programs, and rewards programs are like frequent flyer miles. That's a form of currency. Children trade baseball cards, Pokemon, marbles, Beanie Babies. If you've ever dealt in bartering, that's a form of currency. Cultures also create and adopt crypto and digital currencies. There are countries in Africa that have adopted cryptocurrencies like Dogcoin, and it represents 40% of their GDP. They just trust it because everybody uses it and everybody sees the value in it, and the value of it stays stable because there's an algorithm behind it that prevents too much printing of the actual coin. Okay, and that's really what the problem is. I mean, if you just keep printing and printing and printing, eventually, you're basically involved in a Ponzi scheme, because you're printing tons of currency to support the amount of debt that you've taken on. And in my opinion, that's the definite definition of a Ponzi scheme. When you have to do that, to go into debt, to print money and draw from current income to pay future needs. Last time I checked, old Charles defined that one very well. That's Charles Ponzi, for those that don't know who he is. Attributes of currency. What determines the value of a currency? Perception. Do people believe in the value? Transparency. Do people trust the issuer? If it's got a public record and everything's transparent, every transaction goes by and the algorithm is solid, people will trust it. Access. Can it be transported and transacted easily? I'm a big believer in gold and silver, and I'm a hard asset guy too, but walk through the airport with a couple $1,000s worth of gold and see what happens to you. You might get a visit from Homeland Security. Culture. Does it facilitate communication? It's important that when people are in a culture, that they're able to communicate value, exchange value, and trust each other and make payments. So it's very important in culture. Does it facilitate communication? And OneCoin will definitely do that, because we can all pay each other. We can use each other's services and acquire OneCoin, and we'll be able to spend it at regular retailers that will accept our OneCoin because they see the value, just like people are with Bitcoin. Okay. So you can't really tell this story without talking about Bitcoin. Bitcoin is 1.0. We're riding the coattails of its success. But here's the funny thing. It was started by an anonymous person with open source software. Everybody thinks it's this whole anonymous platform. I always tell people, how do you know it wasn't started by the NSA? I mean, it's really a brilliant story. But you know, there's over 250,000 users worldwide. It has 11 billion in market value, and you know, it's bigger than most U.S. corporations. And it's a very anonymous based organization. You know, it has lack of central exchange, lack of dedicated management team, lack of transparency, and lack of independent auditor. And it really just operates in a very gray area, but it's been accepted all over the world. And also, you know, it's been recognized as an asset by the Internal Revenue Service, and people like Ben Bernanke, former chair of the Federal Reserve, has done congressional hearings on Bitcoin and the necessity of cryptocurrencies and how it's going to help the flow of transactions and business around the world. But here's the funny thing: with all this negative stuff around Bitcoin, you know, Silk Road and Mt. Gox and the failures of Bitcoin, it still was the highest returning investment in the history of the world from 2009 to 2013. And I was figuring out, if you had bought Bitcoin for 25 cents, you know, per coin when it first came out, actually came out at 10 cents, but at 25 cents, and you sold it at 1,203, which was its peak, you would have ended up with about $3 million off of a $500 investment in coin. So pretty incredible return when you think about that. Now, here's the cool thing. OneCoin already has more registered users than Bitcoin, and our coin is trading at less than $1 right now. And so, you know, you have to say, well, am I at the right place at the right time? Am I willing to pull the trigger? Is this going to be bigger than Bitcoin? And, you know, we're excited about it. We've kind of filled in all of the holes of Bitcoin, and I'll cover that here in just a minute. But, you know, as I said, over 250,000 people have joined this powerful opportunity. Not just joined, they've paid to join. So these are committed members. And, you know, interesting thing about it is 90% of our company is Asian. And so that you know, 90% of the English-speaking world doesn't even know about OneCoin yet. And in the United States, we're just getting open, and that's why we're doing our alpha launch right now. So we're looking for leaders that want to help take it to the English-speaking community around the world. So let's talk about OneCoin. Go through a little bit of an introduction. Why does OneCoin beat Bitcoin, or why will it? In our opinion, we have a much more advanced and secure algorithm and platform that's overseen by a centralized management team. We have one exchange, our own exchange. You don't have to send your money to some exchange in you know, Guatemala or wherever that you don't know where you're sending your money to sell your coins. So we have our own exchange. We have dedicated management team. We have mining pools. And I wasn't picking on Guatemala, just so you know. I just couldn't come up with anything off the top of my head. But you know, it's you send it to Nigeria, wherever you send it. You don't have to say, there's some you know, town in China that you can't pronounce. There were exchanges all over the world, and the idea of where you can actually sell your coins and buy your coins, you literally had to send money to those places, and you know, you had to trust that their exchange was solid. With ours, our exchange is all under one. Everything's under one roof with this, and that's what I like about it. Our mining pools are under one roof. We are KYC compliant, BSA compliant, and Bank Secrecy Act. And the reason I tell you that is people will come to us thinking that they can be anonymous and hide their money from the U.S. government and the European governments, etc. Don't think that. Okay, we are KYC compliant. Know your customer. If the governments come knocking because they think you're doing something illegal, they're going to know who you are. So you know, don't think this is like a Bitcoin where you can kind of hide under the radar under an anonymous name. We are very early stage. And by the way, I think that's a real plus when we talk about KYC, because I want OneCoin to last forever. I don't want it to be something where the U.S. government sees it as a nefarious organization and shuts it down. We want to help facilitate commerce in the world, and we want to help people create wealth through a currency that appreciates. You know, and if I make a lot of money in the United States with OneCoin and I pay my taxes, you know, the Treasury should be just as happy. You know, so when you think about that, but early stage, early on, it's very important that we're not mature. So the biggest returns are made in the very beginning from people who got involved in Microsoft and Walmart and McDonald's and, you know, all those companies, and they went through all their stock splits, and they ended up with millions of shares at, you know, $100 a share or $50 a share. They just got wealthy because they were at the right place at the right time, and they were willing to pull the trigger, and you know, they did. So smaller denominations is important. Right now, the Bitcoin's at $240 a coin, and that's just kind of turns people off. It's like, well, oh God, I only have $480. I can only buy 2 coins. This thing's really got to go up in value for me to make any money. Well, when you can buy coins at 50 cents to $1 and it goes up to $5 or $10, well, then you're talking a much more substantial return, and it feels much more meaningful. Why OneCoin? Why now? Well, because people have a desire to communicate globally and locally. There's a lot of currencies around the world that just aren't trusted anymore, and they're looking for a way to communicate with something they can trust. People are seeking value in life. The idea of owning a currency that depreciates a couple percent per year or 10% per year, people are going backwards. They're not going forward. People question their national and sovereign currencies and the amount of debt. Certainly in the United States, you've seen the infographic that shows the amount of debt we have in relation to the Eiffel Tower. It's staggering. I mean, the amount of money we printed in relation to, if it was stacked side by side to the Eiffel Tower, I think it's like 6 times larger than Eiffel Tower, something crazy. But there's an incredible infographic out there that shows how much money it would actually be that we printed. OneCoin, you know, here's the bottom line. People want freedom from fill in the blank. You fill in the blank. What do you want freedom from? Do you want freedom from debt? Do you want freedom from your job? Do you want freedom from, employment, unemployment? Do you want freedom from your country? You want to be able to live on an island somewhere? I mean, what do you want freedom from? And freedom from bad health because you're working too much. But whatever it is, you have to fill in that blank. And if your dreams for that freedom are bigger than your excuses, you'll love OneCoin, because we communicate freedom, value, and transparency, and it's something that you can go out and share with people and feel great about, because it'll create wealth for you, it'll create wealth for others. So let's talk about the founder for a moment. This is very exciting. Dr. Arujah is a brilliant woman. And I got to tell you, and I always jokingly say this, and it may offend some people, but I have worked under a lot of men that have screwed a lot of companies up. So I am very, very happy, especially in a financial company, to be working under a woman, especially with a woman with her pedigree, in looking at her background. Incredible accomplishments. Degree in law from University of Oxford, master's degree, former partner with McKinsey & Company, one of the premier consulting companies in the world, former CEO and CFO of a very large, one of the largest asset management funds in Bulgaria. Also found out she's a member of Mensa Society, which means she has an extremely high IQ, and just an incredible woman, conscientious, but at the same time very focused and very firm in her management, and very committed to getting things done the right way. And I just know with her training and what she learned at McKinsey and her background, that she's got to be a very methodical, very well thought out leader in business. And she did all this before she was 34 years old. She was also voted as Entrepreneur of the Year 2 times in a year in Bulgaria. And recently, she was featured on the cover of Forbes magazine in Europe, which, people say, well, is this real? Is it a scam? I say, you know what? Forbes has a really good vetting department. Okay, they do a really good job vetting people and checking out their backgrounds and interviewing people before they will put them underneath that FORBES, that logo that is so well respected around the world. And so it's very important for you to understand. You may think you can go to Google and you can Google it and find people that say, bad things about us, but they don't have the credibility of Forbes. They haven't done the research that Forbes has done. They've just made up garbage so they can get internet traffic and get top search results because they know this company is going someplace. So I tell people, when you research any company, you can find out, you can find something negative about any company. But I can tell you this, I don't believe Forbes would have put her on the cover of that magazine if they would have found anything negative about her or the company, or found out any truth in what people are trying to tear down. And they're trying to tear down what I think is something great when you think about it. We're trying to create a currency that appreciates and creates wealth for people. Why would people be against that? And so cryptocurrency is one of those new fields that people are skeptical about. But I want to remind you, when PayPal first came out, everybody thought it was a scam too. Okay, sending money by email, that's got to be a scam, And so when you look at the companies that ended up being massive successes early on, they were criticized very heavily. And OneCoin is just in a position of being a market leader. You know, sometimes it's not always best to be the first to market, like Bitcoin, because you run into all of the criticisms, mistakes that can really hold you back. Because of the way you designed your initial business model. We have the fortunate ability to look at what Bitcoin did wrong and ultimately fix those problems. And that's what I love about Dr. Ruscia. She's obviously, through her consulting and working with cryptocurrency companies, she saw what was wrong, and she really created a cryptocurrency for the layman, for somebody who says, hey, I want to participate in this, but I don't want to have to set up all that stuff and all that software and everything. Just give me one platform I can log into, and I can do business and get coins and use my debit card. Don't change my habits is ultimately what I'm trying to say. And in her design of this company is simply brilliant, and her execution so far has been simply brilliant. And considering the fact of how fast we're growing, 260,000 people in 7 months, that's a lot to manage, and she's done a magnificent job. So when you look at cryptocurrencies, you know, we have cryptocurrencies are recognized globally. We have, when we talk about preferred exchange, cryptocurrencies have become the preferable medium of exchange with many worldwide merchants. Universal solution, cryptocurrencies offer a decentralized solution independent of governments. Bottom line is governments are screwing it up right now. You know, they're just spending money out of control. They're not being fiscally responsible, and we're just seeing a disaster when it comes to what's going on in the management of governments. Not just in the U.S., but all around the world. And ultimately, cryptocurrencies are controlled by algorithms. So don't confuse this with other companies who claim to be token companies. They don't have an algorithm. They don't have a mining operation. They're just printing tokens left and right, pretending it's a cryptocurrency. It's really not. So you've got to be careful of that as well. Got to make sure the company has a real algorithm, a real mining operation, and everything is controlled by that algorithm. So, as I mentioned earlier in our explanation, an algorithm has fixed finite solutions, and every time those solutions are solved, it creates what are called coins, or what I call units of value. Everything's governed by mathematics and cannot be changed once the mining begins. And as I mentioned earlier, just an example, to produce a cryptocurrency, if you needed 3 coins, and you had to figure out what equals 5 to get those coins, well, these would be the equations that you would solve, and each of those solutions would be equal to 1 coin. And of course, those equations would get more difficult and more difficult, requiring more mining power. Okay, the more mining power you have, the more expensive it is. So it costs more to get coins. So as your economy grows, the cost of coins go up, which creates value for the people who got their coins early on. I've seen my coins already almost double in value since I've had them, and that's very cool. I can't wait to see them go 100 times what they are, because that'll be retirement time. Member education. When you look at our product, we have one academy, so everybody buys an educational package, and with that comes some gold, comes some benefits, and comes some tokens that come with each of the packages, and I'll show you that here in a minute. But we have multiple educational levels, 5 levels with 5 educational packages, and each one comes with free tokens that can be used to buy slots for mining OneCoin. So here's our packages. They range anywhere from 100 euros all the way up to 5,000 euros. And each package, again, it just has a different level of tokens, a different level of education, and it's a real product. It's something that people buy, and of course, you can do with what you want with the tokens. You don't necessarily have to go buy currency, but you can if you want to. We are commissioned on the sale of educational packages, not currency. I want to be very clear about that. You also get bonused gold, RM gold coins with each of the packages as well. Those are bonuses as well. So, what can you do with the tokens? Of course, take them to one exchange. You can take them to the mining operation. You can sell the tokens, keep the tokens, wait for them to split in value. You can use the tokens to purchase things. And so the tokens are very valuable, and people do use them for exchanging value and getting their coins. As I mentioned, we also have our blockchain. This is a little bit of an introduction. It's your online dashboard that displays current and past trades you've made with OneCoin, but it's a streaming action that shows the transactions of the entire company as well, so it's publicly audited. And so you make a transaction to make sure everything's accurate, you can go there and you'll see the transaction go by with your account number, which it's a live streaming public audit of what's going on with our currency. We don't really have that here in the U.S. There's no real live stream of every transaction. In fact, the Federal Reserve is not even audited, which I find hard to believe, but that's true, and I don't know if that's true of the ECB or the Swiss National Bank, but I don't know how you can be a financial organization and not have to adhere to what the private sector does when it comes to audits, but that's the way it is. With ours, it'll be all public audit, and you'll see every single transaction. I like that. I trust that a lot better. I don't know about you. We also have a recognition and rewards program. Working with OneCoin is a lot of fun. We believe in providing people the recognition for their achievements. People will work very, very hard, but we've got a very exciting comp plan. When you see our comp plan, we have direct sales compensation, and this is in step 2. I'm going to go into greater detail. We have our network bonus, matching bonuses, startup bonuses, One Life Club bonuses, which are like frequent flyer miles. We do splits on our currency. So today I've got 40,000 coins. Tomorrow I may have 80,000 coins. We offer gold bonuses along with every package. We have leadership programs. When you hit certain leadership levels, you get additional bonuses. And then our One Payments card is how you spend it all. It's just like the same cards that you have in your wallet. You have the ability to transact business that way as well. But when you look at the potential growth potential of what we're doing with OneCoin, these are simply predictions. They're not financial forecasts. But what if you get your coins at 50 cents to a dollar and they go to $5, or $2.50, $2.50, 2.5 euros? What an amazing opportunity to have a currency that appreciates in value versus the one that you're currently having in your pocket in your bank account, which is depreciating every year. It's just something for you to think about. What type of currency would you rather own? One that goes up in value or one that goes down in value? When you look at the 3-year potential, when we hit 1 million members or we hit 2 million people using our currency, and companies like potentially Amazon could be accepting OneCoin, it just the value of it goes up. The more vendors that accept it and the more accepted it is worldwide, the more valuable it becomes. And you're just at the right place at the right time. You're down here at 33 weeks or somewhere in that area, or 17 weeks, and it's just an amazing time to be involved with the company. Again, this is just a prediction. It's not a financial forecast, and it's for educational purposes only. But the idea of, and I use this example, if you came and cut my lawn and I paid you $100 to cut my lawn, which would be a real deal because I have about 80 acres of grass. I'd love to pay you $100 to cut my grass, do that all day long. But let's say I paid you $100 today and you put that $100 in the bank, and a year later you withdrew it and it was worth, each dollar I gave you was worth $5 now. Well, all of a sudden you've got $500 as opposed to $100. So you actually made $500, $400 letting your money sit in the bank, and that to me is a way of really creating wealth, as opposed to the $100 being worth $97 a year from now, which is kind of the scenario that a lot of people work under now. So when your money is eroding every year in value, how do you create wealth if you're not getting a net positive return over and above that? So again, going back to Bitcoin, wow, what a great time to be in Bitcoin the last 7 years. And I can tell you, maybe the next 7 years will be a great time to be involved in OneCoin, what we call Bitcoin 2.0. But it's been a real pleasure giving you the presentation today. I hope that's enough to really get you excited about learning more. What I would encourage you to do, if you want to learn more about the compensation plan and get involved in the business, definitely go on to step number 2 and watch the compensation plan right now. But lock in your position. It's very important because our organizations are growing very quickly, and these binary compensation plans are extremely powerful and can some of the fastest growing, highest paying compensation plans in the world. And it's just very excited. And we'll cover that in step 2 of the compensation plan. So go on to that video. I'll see you in the next video. And again, it's been a pleasure presenting OneCoin to you today.